12 o'clock noon, Eastern Standard Time. I come live here on this show for one reason, and that's to share information with you that you can use to properly start, structure, and scale your business, even your ministry, if you have a ministry, and your income streams. Like, I've been an entrepreneur full-time, waking up every day for over 20 years. I've been a preacher and a minister full-time, waking up every day for over 20 years. So I know both sides of the spectrum. But for all y'all go-getters, grinders, y'all entrepreneurs, you out there hustling, trying to make it happen, I'm telling you that it's going to require you to get the right knowledge and to figure out how you can put that knowledge to practice. It's not easy. It ain't easy being an entrepreneur out here in these streets, and it's getting harder and harder. However, it is possible. Okay, when you got the right knowledge, when you have the discipline, and even before you get the discipline, if you put yourself around the right people, the people you put yourself around will inspire you and push you to take the knowledge you learn and put it to practice. It's not easy. If it was easy, 9 out of 10 businesses wouldn't fail. If it was easy, there'd be more people with businesses than there'd be people with jobs. It's not something that's for the faint of heart. But most of the people who fail as entrepreneurs, they ain't got no knowledge. And then they get a little knowledge and then they stop learning, or they don't put it to practice. So I like to show up on my show Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon, to give you information, to give you the game, and to be an example, to show you whether you a preacher or whether you not a preacher, whether you a Christian or whether you're not. It don't matter what side of the spectrum you on. Of course, the preacher in me wants you to be a Christian. The preacher in me wants you to be saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, and fire baptized. But guess what? The entrepreneur understands. I do business every day with people who don't even have a relationship with God. They can't stand people. Okay? But you still need knowledge. And so today on the show, I want to take a few minutes to talk about part 2. This is part 2 on the asset acquisition test. So you got to go back and watch yesterday's show to understand what I mean when I say the asset acquisition test. So let me try to explain it to you real quick. First of all, I believe, as an entrepreneur for over 20 years, I believe that the next big wave for entrepreneurs, I want you to definitely save this video and go back and rewatch this video 3 years from now, 3 to 5 years from now. I am telling you, the next big wave, or one of the next big waves for entrepreneurs within the next 3 to 5 years, is the wave of acquisitions. Okay? The wave of acquisitions. I want you to hear me on this. And for all you church folks, I'm not claiming to prophesy this, even though I am prophetic. So some of this might be prophetic, so you better listen closely, okay? But what I'm telling you is the next big wave. Come on, baby. For entrepreneurs in the next 3 years is going to be acquisitions. You say what you want to say, you believe what you want to believe, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I'm telling you, the next big wave, and at the very least, it will be one, if it's not the next big wave, one of the next big waves for entrepreneurs, meaning that if you work a W-2 job, but you got a side hustle, if you're an independent contractor, if you're a network marketer, an agent, like insurance agent, real estate agent, if you're a solopreneur, self-employed, small business owner, you got an LLC or two, even if you have a nonprofit, even if you're doing community work, I'm telling you, the next big wave, or at the very least, one of the next big waves in the next 3 to 5 years is going to be acquisitions. You got to learn the power of acquisition. So today is part 2. Yesterday, I talked about the asset acquisition test. All right. There are certain questions you want to ask yourself when you're considering acquiring an asset. Now, when I say asset acquisition test, first of all, I'm talking about things that flow money to you or flow value to you, okay? So an asset is something that flows money to your business or something that flows value to your business. That would be considered an asset. If there is something that flows money from your business or flows value from your business, it's a liability, all right? So that's a financial term, but we're applying it to business. We're applying it to entrepreneurship. So when you think about asset acquisition, we are talking about the acquisitions or the acquiring, the possessing, and the controlling of things that flow money to your business, things that flow value to your business. This is going to be the big deal for the next 3 to 5 years. Now, for those of you that hadn't watched the show the last couple of days, let me explain to you why I believe strongly acquisitions is the next big thing for the next 3 to 5 years. A big wave, big wave. Here's why. We've got a baby boomer generation. Our elders, they are leaving the workforce. They're retiring from their jobs. A lot of them are small business owners or investors. Even if they don't have businesses or investments, they probably have retirement accounts. They got assets. They got things that have value, things that may bring in revenue or income or passive income or active income, but they got assets. They got things that have value, things that bring in money. And a lot of them might be retiring. A lot of them might just be checking out, ready to just chill out and enjoy the last few years of their life. Some of them are going to die. Whatever the case is, all the economic studies are showing that this baby boomer generation is so big and they own and control so many assets. We're talking about trillions, tens of trillions of dollars, not millions, okay? Not billions. We're talking about trillions, all right? They own, they control, they possess, they manage trillions of dollars of assets, things that flow money to businesses, things that flow value to businesses. So you got the baby boomer generation that's retiring, they're moving on, they're selling their assets, they're transferring them to other businesses. So there's a massive transference of wealth that's taking place just with the baby boomer generation. But then again, you got the current generation, all us who out here doing business, all right? All of us who running businesses and starting businesses. Like, there are so many businesses that close every day. If you Google the number of businesses that close every day, every week, every month, every year, you will see that there are a lot of businesses that close. There are a lot of businesses that have assets, even with real estate. I mean, the foreclosure rate has always been substantial. Like we watch this stuff. So we know there are so many homes and buildings and pieces of real estate that foreclose every month. So every month, just every 30-day window, you have a tremendous amount of businesses that shut down, real estate that's foreclosed on, and people who either die or just give up and say, hey, I don't want to do this thing no more. So there's a lot of opportunities in the marketplace, but you got to position yourself. So the first part of positioning yourself is making sure you have your entity set up, your corporation, your enterprise set up. That's why I like to teach and encourage you to do a holding company, so you can have a parent company and then you can have divisions and subsidiaries and learn the ins and outs of being a CEO, a real business owner, learning how to manage this multi-entity enterprise, learning about systems and processes, and then becoming a better asset manager overall. All right, I hope y'all still with me. Now, with that being said, when you start making the decision to identify with things that can be considered assets to your enterprise, there are certain questions you want to ask, okay? And yesterday I gave you 3 of the many questions you want to ask. Today, I'm going to give you 3 more of the many questions you want to ask. I try to break it up as much as I can. So what are some of the questions you're going to ask when it comes to the asset acquisition test? All right. So let's just say you see a piece of real estate, or you see a couple businesses that are operating in your neighborhood or close by you, or let's say there is something that you want to acquire, something you want to buy, something you want to purchase, and you want to see how can it benefit your business. you need to take that thing or that opportunity through the asset acquisition test. All right, that's what we call it, the asset acquisition test. I need to test this thing out to see, is it going to do certain things for me? All right, I want to take it through the asset acquisition test. The first question was, does it have the potential to monetize? So I got to see, can this thing cash flow? Whether it's a business, whether it's a piece of real estate, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's certain items I need for my business, whether it's certain platforms, the technology, whatever it is that I'm going to buy for my business, I want to see, is it an asset or a liability? And I'm going to take it through the asset acquisition test before I acquire it. Does it have the potential to monetize? That's number one, meaning that, can I cash flow? Can I make money off this thing, right? Okay. Number two, does it assist in increasing my company's enterprise value? So I want to see, if I bring this thing into my business, into my enterprise, and I now own it and control it, is it giving me any value? Is it providing any value to my company? What type of enterprise value? Is it increasing my net worth? Is it elevating my enterprise value? Number three, what was the third question we asked? The third question was, I don't even have it written down, I got to remember it. The third question was about, does it have the ability to, or where do I actually position it? That was the third question we talked about yesterday. Where do I position this asset? Do I put it in another LLC under my holding company, or do I position it inside of my division? So there are certain assets that you accumulate and you acquire that you can actually put inside your holding company. It could be stocks and bonds that your holding company owns and control. It could be ownership interests of other LLCs. It could be intellectual property that doesn't need its own LLC. But then there are certain assets like real estate or equipment or vehicles or other things that might be volatile and risky. You ain't gonna put that in your holding company. You're gonna put them in another LLC. Some of y'all can get real bougie and you might even put something in a trust or something, but that's for another time. We're just talking about the business entity structure right now, okay? Those are the first three questions. The three questions that I'm gonna give you today are in addition to the first three for the asset acquisition test. So question number 4 is, what are the variables of the asset? That's a question. That's a big word. What are the variables? Meaning that, how many ways can I slice and dice this asset to monetize and to create value? How many ways can I slice and dice it? You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you an example, because I'm going to give you real world examples. The stuff that I be talking about is stuff that I'm doing. I don't talk about and teach people and consult people on anything that I don't do. I just don't. I ain't got time for it. I'm not going to be around here capping and lying and acting like I'm doing something I ain't doing. As a matter of fact, I had somebody, they reached out to me the other day, and my executive administrator got him on the phone, talked with him, and scheduled a few minutes for us to jump on the phone and talk, and gave me a rundown of what they were asking and inquiring about. And when I got on the phone with this individual, they were telling me what they're working on doing and launching their business. They was looking for a mentor, and they was asking me, can I mentor them on a couple different things? And when they explained it to me, even though I might be able to reach and help them, but I know that's not what I do. That ain't my thing. I've never done that specific thing. I know about it, but I've never done it. It ain't like I wake up every day and I practice it. I'll be wasting my time and your time. And the person was like, first of all, I appreciate your honesty and your integrity to not try to just do business and get money from me when you're not doing what what I'm looking at doing. So I ain't with that. I don't do stuff like that. So my point is, the next question you want to ask when you're thinking about acquiring an asset for your business is, what are the variables of the asset? How many ways can I slice and dice this asset? So back to my main point. I'm going to give you an example of your variables. So I have an idea, right? I know how to provide business consulting. I know how to provide business coaching. I am a financial coach. I know about finances and, the basics of financial planning. I know a lot about those things, all right? I work with clients. Okay, so that means I have intellectual assets. So I have IP. So let's say if I have intellectual property, that would be an asset. So now I want to take my intellectual property and I want to see how many variables I can create. So what can I create with my intellectual property? Well, I can create a course, right? I could create a course. This could be a digital course. It could be a physical course. I could create live events with the same information. I could create a coaching program with the same process and information. I can create consulting services. I could create some type of hybrid STAR program and make it available. I can create some type of licensing program just for my IP. So notice, I'm taking one asset that I have, intellectual property, about certain areas of life or business, and I could create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's six different variables, 6 different ways or versions to make money for my business with one asset. And I'm not even thinking about the enterprise value and the net worth that it will create for my company if I start monetizing all these areas. I could create promotional material and have like hats and hoodies with the names and information on those items. So those could be physical products that I can sell. So if you notice, when you have an asset that you are acquiring or creating for your enterprise, you want to ask the question, what are the variables? Now again, if you buy an asset, if you're paying for an asset and acquiring it outside of your business, you definitely want to ask this question, what are the variables? What are the different ways I can make money off this thing? How can I monetize it? This is very important for all of you. And again, you shouldn't wait until you already at the top or you already came up. When you on the come up, see, this is what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of the strategies that I teach y'all, like most of the strategies that I teach about business and entrepreneurship and finances and wealth building, a lot of these strategies, if not most of them, are strategies that I had to create on the come up. That's the difference. These are strategies that I had to come up with because I didn't have credit. I didn't have money. I didn't have a big book of business. I didn't have a brand or marketing ability. I didn't have none of that. So I had to figure out, how can I get creative on the come up to create opportunity, to create value, literally out of thin air. How can I create value? How can I simulate it? How can I take all the activity that I got going on as a solopreneur and make it mean something? That's the creative part of these strategies, okay? So the fourth question for asset acquisition, for the asset acquisition test is, what are the variables of the assets? Meaning that you got to figure out how many ways you can make money off them doggone assets and how many ways you could create value from them, all right? Question number 5 is, what is the cost of acquisition? You want to look at the cost of acquisition, okay? How much is it going to cost? How much is it going to cost you to acquire? You want to look at, am I assuming a debt position or am I assuming an equity position? So I could give you an example. It may be a business opportunity that you find. It may be somebody that's tired of their business, but they got certain assets in their business that you can use, whether it's the same kind of business you in or whether it's a business that can kind of connect with you, right? Well, you got to look at the cost of acquisition. What is it going to cost me to acquire that business or that piece of equipment? Or what is it going to cost for me to buy that particular vehicle or item that I need? Again, you want to ask yourself these questions, but I want to know, what is the cost? Is it gonna be a debt cost? Am I gonna have to put up money and get debt for it? Can I do an equity play where I acquire business or acquire a certain product or some type of asset and I give somebody else an equity position? So there are so many different ways you can calculate and do the math on the cost of acquisition. You don't always have to have money, right? You don't always have to have money. You might use debt. You might use debt, meaning that you might use other people's money. You might use other people's credibility. A lot of times, especially when it comes to assets like real estate, when you ain't got no money, you might just use paperwork. You might just create terms. And the terms you create, the paperwork, is your cost of entry. So another way of saying cost of acquisition could be your cost of entry. If there's an asset, no matter if it's real estate, a vehicle, equipment, whether it's some item or some opportunity to get intellectual property, whatever it is, if you can monetize it and make money from it, and if it also creates value for your enterprise and increases your net worth, getting the money is the easy part. And I used to hear people say that and think, what you mean that's the easy part? That's the hard part. Yeah, for people who don't have knowledge and information. For people who ain't educated on how to play the game, it's hard for them. But once you learn the game, you learn the ins and outs, meaning that once you educate yourself on how creative strategies as an entrepreneur give you more leverage than people who don't have them, but they got money. There are people who got money, but they don't have no strategies. They don't have an idea how to work their way around certain deals. So they got money, but they can't do nothing with the money. Because some deals, your money might not even be no good. You get what I'm saying? Like, there are deals and opportunities out here in the marketplace that if you just got money, your money ain't even no good to get something in that deal. It's your creativity, it's your relationships, it's your knowledge, it's how you structure it. So again, the fifth question for the asset acquisition test is, what is the cost of acquisition? All right. I want to know the cost. I want to know how much money I got to put up, how much equity I got to put up, how much work and effort, and can I structure some type of creative opportunity? And again, I'm just giving you the surface, like the surface of the iceberg. Is so much more in this. I'm still learning about business acquisitions. I understand the real estate acquisition side, and I understand the side of asset management and creating assets, because I've created a lot of these assets myself out of thin air because I didn't have money and I didn't have the knowledge at many points in my entrepreneurial journey. So I had to figure out creative ways to come up with things that I could monetize and things that could give my business value. All right. And the final question that we want to cover today for the asset acquisition test is, what is the exit strategy? Never forget that. Never forget that. In real estate, if you get around people who invest in real estate, you'll hear them say or quote certain things. One thing you'll hear people in real estate say is, you make your money on the purchase, you don't make your money on the sale. You'll hear people say that. You make your money on the purchase, you don't make your money on the sale. You make your money on the purchase, you don't make your money on the sale. So when you're putting an exit strategy together for anything that you acquire as an asset for your business, if you've answered those questions and you've checked those boxes, when you get to this question on what is my exit strategy, it ain't just a real estate exit strategy or a business exit strategy. It's anything. Okay? Like I gave you an example. I have intellectual property. I have IP, right? So I've taken all my IP and I've created all these different products and programs and services. I have so many variables just with my own intellectual property, right? Okay. So when I went to my attorney and said, okay, I want to get my trademarks for some of this intellectual property, or trademarks to represent some of this intellectual property. I want to draft my paperwork for any licensing that I do and royalties that I get. I literally went through this process, right? And so when I did that, this was some time ago, but at the time when I did it, I was thinking about my exit strategy. Okay, what is my exit strategy now that I have all these assets that I have accumulated, so that they can not only make money for me, but they can increase my enterprise value? And I hope y'all get what I'm saying. Like, I can't even stress this enough, y'all. I'm telling you, man, like, I already know what happens when you just the solopreneur. You out here hustling, scrapping, trying to make it work, and it's hard. But I'm telling you, you got to figure this out. So this is the other question. What is your exit strategy? Okay, so you'll hear people say it in real estate. It ain't when you sell it. It's you make your money when you buy it. But then when you buy anything, you want to know, how am I going to exit this? Whether I buy a business, even when you start a business. I didn't even know that when I started my first business, that I should have had some type of exit strategy, because it would have changed how I did business. Okay, so again, I wanted to go over part 2 of the asset acquisition test. If you're watching this show today, hopefully you've watched the show all week and you are a regular viewer of the Ramon Preston Show. But if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have your holding company set up, you don't have your enterprise put together the right way, if you're not knowledgeable about asset management, if you're not knowledgeable about systems and processes, if you don't know how to engineer $1 million business, you got to get this knowledge. You got to stop letting money and price and I don't want to pay for no courses and mentorship and coaching. You got to get past that. You cannot get where you want to go without going down that road at some point. I thought that at one point in my entrepreneurial journey, I was so big-headed, my ego was so big, I took so much pride in my ability to research and learn and find stuff out through reading books and putting things together. But I got to a point that I realized, bro, you're not going no further. And I had to come to the realization that if you do not get a coach and a mentor and get around people who are so far ahead of you, bro, you're not going to get where you think God wants you to go, dog. It ain't going to happen. And I promise you, one of the best decisions I've made in my 20 years as an entrepreneur, one of the best decisions I made was when I finally got to a point to where I made a decision to pay for coaching. I paid to have a coach. I paid to get in the right rooms. I started spending a whole lot of money on mentorship and masterminds and all that stuff that we see that's normal in the marketplace. But I'm telling you, you connect with the right people, got the right information, that stuff works and it will accelerate you tremendously. So with that being said, I'm never ashamed and I'm never embarrassed and I'm never shy and silent about the fact that I'm a business and financial consultant, coach, and educator. This is a part of what I do for a living. My wife and I have done it for so long and have helped so many people, and we still do. As a matter of fact, just with our coaching program, which up until 3 years ago, we didn't have a coaching program. We didn't even have a large educational program. We primarily did consulting because it was more money in consulting. The client base was different. So it's just consulting is really a different world than coaching and education. Okay, it's a totally different world. But I'm glad that my wife and I, when we finally moved our company towards coaching and education, we had already had years of consulting on more sophisticated levels of business, and we understood the power of doing it, but we also saw it from a different perspective. unlike some people, if they just selling a course, they may have never coached people, they may have never consulted companies or business owners. So it's certain things that they don't know that my wife and I did know. So with that being said, we do have a 1-year millionaire mentorship program. And so we took the best of our coaching, consulting, and education, and we packaged it all together in the form of one program to show you how to engineer a $1 million company, okay? In this coaching program, we offer 1-year access to our Millionaire Blueprint. This is our educational program. We give you VIP tickets to all of our workshops. We host about 4 to 5 workshops a year. These are 1-day deep dives that we train you on the nuts and bolts of certain areas of business. We also have coaching boot camps to show you how to create your own intellectual property for your coaching and consulting. We have weekly coaching calls. We have concierge services to help you throughout the week. Any day that you need us, we support you. We help you along the way. This 1-year accelerated coaching and consulting program is probably the cheapest, or I guarantee one of the cheapest, one of the most cost-effective programs that you're going to find on the internet today. It's $3,500 for the year. I don't like to use the word cheap because it ain't cheap. It's probably the most expensive compared to the information. If you put the price that you pay, $3,500 for this program, against the information and the coaching you get, you'll be like, oh my God, I'm stealing this from him. But anyway, this program is $3,500 for the year. We do offer a payment plan option, but if you choose to pay it in full, we also give you these 2 bonuses. We give you 1 free LLC. That means we'll put together a whole LLC for you, a holding company, LLC, or operating company, your choice. And we have a one-on-one coaching session that we offer you where I'll sit down with you for about an hour or so to put a game plan together. So if the $3,500 one-time payment is not something you can do, and you would like to set up some payment plan options because you know you need coaching, you need education, you need to learn these things, I want you to look in the comments, text the word mentor to the number you see, and we'll reach back out to you, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. I want y'all to also leave a comment. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. Let me know what you learned today, whatever you heard that helped you understand acquisitions and assets differently. And don't forget, y'all, please go to my YouTube page. I got to keep reminding y'all every day. I don't care what platform you watch me from. I need you to visit my YouTube page. Go to YouTube, type in Ramon Preston, subscribe. We're at like maybe 9,400 subscribers. We want to get to 10,000. That means we need about 600 more people to subscribe. So your subscription is appreciated. And if you can just go over to YouTube, type in Ramon Preston, subscribe to our YouTube page, like the video, share it, and be sure to hit the bell for the notifications so that we can continue to help you take your business and your finances to the next level. Again, if you have any questions about the program that we offer, or if you have any questions about your business in general, look in the comments, take the number and text the word mentor to the number you see, and we'll reach back out to you and we'll answer any and every question that you have about your business, your finances, your legacy, your future, your ministry. It don't even matter. And if you are interested and eager to sign up because you know you need coaching, you need education, you need mentorship on these subjects, we have you covered, and we'll talk about that when we call you. So thank y'all for joining the show today. Appreciate you all. It's Friday, so we won't be back live tomorrow or Sunday. The Ramon Preston Show is every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time, but you better believe it. We'll be right back here at 12 o'clock noon Monday morning, and we look forward to seeing you then. Love you.